Hello and welcome to the transcription explanation of these designs. So this is a bit of a catch-all random generic word explanation video. I made these designs to go on magnets and jewelry and stuff. Instead of doing an individual video for each of these, because they're a more normal, less popular design, I decided to make one big video for all of these. And if you're looking for your own specific design in here, what I'll be doing is marking them with stars when I have read them, so you can go ahead and skip ahead in the video to get to where I have read your word. So if you're waiting for this one, when you see a star here, that means I'm about to do this one or am doing this one. Anyway, for all of them, they all follow this key, which uses a combination of deep divots, circles inside the word circles, shallow divots, and circles on the line of the word circle as the 4-letter stems. So each consonant is made by combining one of these letter stems and modifiers, which are either dots or lines. And these dots can be big, they can be little, they can be inside, they can be outside, wherever. So long as it's got dots, then it's one of these letters. And then lines count when they end on a letter stem. So they count when they end on a letter stem, and they can count for multiple letters, and they can curve and do a whole bunch of stuff. Reading order for all of these is bottom counterclockwise, because imagine a time traveler going back in time. Anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and get to it. So this first one here says friends, and it starts with a deep divot shape here. And that deep divot means it's in this top row, and it has 1, 2, 3 line modifiers, making it an F. Then we have this R, which is a shallow divot with 3 dots, making it an R. Then we have an I. An I is a little circle, and it has a line going inwards, like this. E doesn't have the line. An N has 1 line modifier, and is a circle inside the word circle. And then a D is a deep divot with 3 dots. So unlike the R, which is a shallow divot, this is a deep divot. So they're in the same column. They're both deep divot letters, but a D is a deep divot, whereas R is a shallow divot, and they're both 3 dot letters. So, yep, and then we have a shallow divot with 1, 2, 3 lines, making it an S. So shallow divot stem with 3 lines. So I'm going to go ahead and put a star on that and move on to family. So an F is a deep divot, so top row with 3 lines making it an F. An A is a little circle outside the word circle. An M is a circle inside the word circle, so this row with 3 lines. And we have 1, 2, 3, those 2 curvy ones and that straight one. Then an I has a line going towards the middle. An L has 3 dots and is the same stem as an M, so there's the L. And then we have a Y. 2 dots on a circle on the line of the word circle. So let's go ahead and move on to Gallifrey. So Gallifrey, we start with a deep divot, and this is kind of a tricky spelling where I have the E really, really big and looking kind of like a Y stem here, but we don't have the word circle continue and touch that Y. So this is a Y. This is just an E with an R and 3 dots. We'll get to that in a second. Anyway, this G is a deep divot with 1 line on it. So here's the deep divot row, and it's got 1 line on it. That would be a G, and then we have an A outside the word circle like that. Then we have this thin double line, and that double line means it's a double letter. And there are 1, 2, 3 dots on that double line, making it a 1, 2, 3 dot L. So that's the double L. Then we have the I line going towards the middle. Then we have this deep divot with 1, 2, 3 lines on it. So that makes it an F. Then we have this shallow divot I was talking about earlier. Just this thin line makes that shallow divot shape. So that shape there. And there are 3 dots on it, making it an R. So it's in the same column as the L. And then last but not least, we have that 2 dot Y on the line of the word circle. So that would be Gallifrey. And I've done another variation of Gallifrey here. So we have a deep divot with 1 line, G, A, double L, I with a line going inwards, F with 1, 2, 3 lines, R with 1, 2, 3 dots, E, and then Y with 2 dots. I like this one better. I think it looks cool. I think they both look cool, but this one is way easier to read. So let's move on to become. So we have a deep divot with no lines. Lines that pass through letters don't count because lines count where they end on a letter. So that would be a B because nothing ends on it. Then right in the middle of the B, we have something like this red circle, which if we follow down is an E. Then we have 2 dots on the K in become, and this C is a special letter. You tend not to use it unless you're writing a proper noun or an acronym. So in the old script, there was no way to write these letters with 4 dots, nor these 1 dot letters. There wasn't this whole column nor this whole column. So you would write a C as a K and make it go K. Or if it's an S sounding C, like S, you'd put an S there, or a CH, you'd put a CH for a ch sound. So becomes would be B-E-K-O-M-E. So we have the K here with 2 dots, 2 dot column, circle inside the word circle K. And then we have an O inside the word circle, like that. And then an M with 1, 2, 3 lines attached to it. So we're in this row in that column. And then an E, a little guy on the line of the word circle. So that's become. Now we have destiny. We have a deep divot with 1, 2, 3 dots. So that makes it in the 3 dot column and in the deep divot column, row. So deep divot forms the row, and then 3 dots makes the column, and then an E centered inside that word circle there. So like this red one here, E. That's what this open circle is. So D, E, and all the lines that pass through the D don't count or change anything because lines count when they end on a letter. So 1, 2, 3 lines end on that S, like that. Then we have a shallow divot here with no lines or dots ending on it. So that makes it a T because this first column here has no modifiers. And then we have this I line going towards the middle of the word circle. So like this green one has a line going inwards. And then we have an N. It's a circle inside the word circle with 1 line. So we're in the 1 line column, which is this one. And then this row, because it's a completed circle inside the word circle. And then on the Y, we have 1, 2 dots, just like those 2 dots, and a circle on the line of the word circle. So that's destiny. And then let's go over here. So right now we're at this point. So I is this circle here. This circle is the word circle. And this swirl is just the line coming from the letter I. And I is a small circle because it's a vowel and it has a line going inwards. And then we have the A, another little circle, and it has an M in that same word circle with 1, 2, 3 lines. So if we go to this row, we find the M. In this column, we find the M. So that would be the M there. Lovely. So there we have that one. Okay, now it's time for wisdom. We have a shallow divot here with 1, 2 lines. Just these 2 thick lines end on it. So that makes it a W in this column. And it's a shallow divot, so it's in this row. Then we have an I, line going towards the middle, little guy, so it's a vowel. And that line going inwards makes it like that green one. And then we have this shallow divot with 1, 2, 3 lines ending on it. That thin line, as well as those 2 thick lines. So that makes it an S, and in this 3-line column, and it's a shallow divot, so it's in that row. And then we have a deep divot with 1, 2, 3 dots on it. So we're in the deep divot row and the 3 dot column, making it a D. And then we have this. This big thick circle does kind of cross this line like a bead on a string. It does interfere with it and does cross it. So that's just a really big O, like this brown one here. And it is on the line of the word circle. And this is kind of an interesting case where we have a vowel that is actually bigger than a consonant. So this has to be a consonant because it has 1, 2, 3 lines on it. And this has to be a vowel because it's attached to another consonant. So this would be the O on D, and then this is the M with 1, 2, 3 line modifiers. So it's in the same column as the S, but it's in the row of the circle inside the word circle. So that's wisdom. And then we have invention, and this is a design I'm pretty proud of because of the symmetry in it. We start with this I with a line going towards the middle. Then we have this, which is an N because it's a circle inside the word circle with 1 line attached. And we know that these can't be attached vowels because there are 3 attached to each other. And there is not one that is bigger or smaller than the other, so you couldn't figure out which are the vowels. Plus, they're all the letter N because they have 1 line on it. So we have the I-N, V, which is a shallow divot with 1 line on it, and then the E. So it's important that this line ends on the V, not on the E, because that changes it from a T, and the I, which is the next thing in this word. So we have the I-N, V-E-N, T-I, and then here's the little O, and then another N. So that's invention. Here we have a lovely word. Oh, let me put my star by it. And then we have this lovely word. We start with the shallow divot here with 1, 2, 3 lines attached to it. So that puts us in the column with 3 lines. And a shallow divot makes it an S. Then we have an E, like this red one. That's in the E position. And then we have this circle on the line of the word circle, and every other line passes through it except for these two. So because two lines end on it, we have an X. And then we have this circle on the line of the word circle with 1, 2 dots by it. So we're in the same row as the X, but with the 2 dots, putting it in this column, making it a Y. So that would be sexy. And then we have the universe. So we have 2 word circles here, this word circle and this word circle. The rest of this is just kind of decoration, the hexagon and the circle going around it. The circle going around stuff is typically used as the sentence circle and would be where you put punctuation, but we don't have punctuation in this. So we start with the TH. This is a bigger circle and it's on the line of the word circle. So that means it's this stem and in this column. So that would be a TH because it has no modifiers. And then we have this little guy. That little guy is a vowel and it is on the line of the word circle, making it an E. Then we have, so that's our first word, that's the word the, and then we have a U, a line going outwards, away from the center of the word circle, like this purple one here. And then we have this circle inside the word circle with 1 line attached to it. Lines that pass through letters do not count. So that would be an N, 1 line on it. Here's an I, line going inwards, so it's kind of opposite the U. An I has a line going in, a U has a line going out. So U and I. Then we have this shallow divot with 1 line on it, so that would put it in this 1 line column and this shallow divot column, making it a V. And then we have another E on the line of the word circle, just like that E and the. And now we have a letter stack. These 2 letters are the same stem, and when you have 2 letters in the same stem, they can be stacked. So we read all the consonants before any vowels, and we read thin to thick. So let's find our thin line here. Our thin line is this one. And this thin line has 1, 2, 3 dots closer to it than this thick one, which has 1, 2, 3 lines on it. So those 3 dots make it an R, and those 3 lines make it an S. So 3 lines, S, 3 dots, R, and they're both in that row because they are stacked and they are both shallow divots. And then we have another E. So U-N-I-V-E-R-S-E. So that's the universe. Lovely. Now let's go to time. We have a shallow divot with nothing. So that puts us in the shallow divot column, and then the nothing makes the shallow divot row, and then the nothing makes it in this no line modifier column. So that would be a T. Then an I has a line going inwards, like this green one. So that's an I. Then we have 1, 2, 3 lines attached to this letter, so putting it in the 3-line column. And it is a completed circle inside the word circle, making it an M. And then last but not least, we have another little circle, and little circles are vowels, and that vowel is centered inside the M. So that would be an M and then an E. So T-I-M-E, time. Well, let's move on. So here we have 2 of the same design, well, 2 different designs for the same word. So this kind of shows off how the script works. And you can make 2 of the same design look very different. 2 of the same words look very different. And these actually have some punctuation. Those 3 dots on the sentence circle make the exclamation point, but that is right at the end. So bottom counterclockwise is the reading order. Here's our first letter of our first word. This is a shallow divot with 1, 2, 3 lines attached to it. So that makes it in this column, an S. And in this row, because it's a shallow divot, so that combined with that makes it an S. So that's the S. And then we have an H, 1, 2 lines attached to a deep divot. So here we have our 2-line column and our deep divot row, so that would be the H. Then we have a U, line radiating outwards. So vowels are these little guys, and a U, like this purple one, has a line going outwards, away from the center of the word circle. And then we have this T, a shallow divot with no modifiers, so lines passing through letters do not count. So that would be the word shut. And then we have this little U, line going outwards, just like that one. And then we have 2 lines, 1, 2, attached to this circle inside the word circle. So we have it here with 2 lines making it a P. So that would be this variation of shut up. And then we have this variation of shut up. We have an S, 1, 2, 3 lines, this thick one, medium one, and thin one, all attached to that shallow divot. So that puts us in the shallow divot row, and then the 3-line column. And then we have this deep divot with 1, 2 lines attached, this thick one and then that thin one. So that makes us be in the 2-line column and the deep divot row, making it an H. And then we have a U with a line radiating outwards, so going away from the center of the word circle. So this is the center of the word circle for the word shut, and then we have a shallow divot for the T on the word shut. And that shallow divot puts us here. And then we have this U with a line going outwards from the center of this word circle. Yes, it's going towards the middle of the sentence, but it's going away from the middle of the word. It's relative to the word it's attached to, if it's an I or a U, which direction the line goes. And this is a P with 2 lines attached to it. So like that. And then these 3 dots, I forgot to mention this on this one as well, but 3 dots make an exclamation point when on the sentence circle. Sweet, so that's that one. Then we have remember, we have a shallow divot with 3 dots. Shallow divot, 3 dots, so we combine that column and that row and make an R. And then we have an E. It's a little circle on the line of the word circle. So like this red one here. And then we have this circle inside the word circle with 1, 2, 3 lines attached to it. So that would be an M. Then we have an E inside that M, like this red one here. If we follow that down, keep it red, it's an E. And then we have this circle. This kind of like bubble shape doesn't exist anywhere in the letter stems, so we know that that's not a stem. But this is a completed circle, and that is a stem. So that puts us in this row, and then we have 1, 2, 3 lines ending on it. These 2 kind of thick ones, and then this thin one, and everything else passes through it. So these are lines from this M, and these are lines from that M. So that puts us in that column because 3 lines and then that row, just like the other M. Then we have a deep divot with no modifiers, so that puts us in the no modifier column and the deep divot row. And then we have an E centered inside that, so if we take that E and follow it down, yep, it's an E. And then we have an R, just like that R with 3 dots. So that's remember. And even though this looks a lot like this here, this is an exclamation point. There is no letter R in shut up. But we can tell that this is the letter R because this whole thing is the word circle. There's only one sentence circle. To put this as an exclamation point, we would need to do it on the line like that, on this line out here. Anyway, so that's a quick little thing there. Same thing for this wonder here. So we have a shallow divot with 1, 2 lines. So we're going to go up here and find our shallow divot column, our shallow divot row, and then our 2-line column. So when we combine those 2 lines with that shallow divot, we get a W. So we have a W, and then attached to that W, we have this shape like a bead on a string, a circle attached to it like this. And if we follow that brown one down, that would be an O. Then we have this N. It's a circle inside the word circle with 1 line attached to it. So there's the 1-line column, the circle inside the word circle row. And then we have this deep divot with 3 dots. So that would be deep divot row, 3-dot column, D. And then we have an E right there. It is on the line of the word circle with no lines going outwards or inwards. So that makes it an E. And then we have another 3-dot letter, so it's in the same column as the D, but it's in a shallow divot row, just like the W. So it's in this row with the W, and it's in this column with the D. So there's your R. So that would be wonder. We're more than halfway done, guys. Now we have change. We have a deep divot with 1, 2 dots, so that would be a CH. Then we have an A outside the word circle. So A is this blue one, kind of outside the word circle, like this. So CHA, even though we start reading at the bottom and going counterclockwise, you read a consonant and then a vowel if they're together. So even though this A is lower than the CH, you read the CH first and then the A. Then we continue around. Here we have this letter. And this is tricky because it only looks like it's got 1 line. But if we look closely, 1, 2 more lines do end on it. So 1, 2 lines end on this, plus this one. So that's 3 lines. So that puts us in the 3-line column. And then it's a circle on the line of the word circle. So making that an NG. And then we have an E, like a bead on the line of the word circle. So that would be an E. So that would be the red E there. So that would be change. And now we have we all change. Very similar to this one, except with the words we and all before the word change. So we have a shallow divot with 2 line modifiers. So we're in this column with the 2 line modifiers and in this row with a shallow divot stem. So that would be a W. And then we have this little guy. And little guys are vowels. And this E is on the line of the word circle. So if we go up here, here's our E, like that red one. So we, and then an A is outside the word circle, like that. And then we have this double line. And a double line is a double letter, and there are 3 dots on that completed circle inside the word circle. So that makes it a double L. So that's the word all. And then we have this word, which starts with a deep divot with 2 dots on it. So that would be a CH here, 2 dots, deep divot. And then we have an A. If we continue all the way around here, here's that A outside the word circle, just like that one. And then we have this here. So here's the word circle, and this is on the line of the word circle, and it has 1, 2, 3 lines coming from it. So we have an NG, and then centered right in the middle of that NG, we have an E, like that. That's also on the line of where the word circle would go. So that would be the E in CHANGE. So that would be we all change. We're getting there. So now we have this design, which is fun and cheeky, and it starts, wait, this one is pride. Sorry, this one is something. This one is pride. We have a circle inside the word circle with 1, 2 lines attached to it. So that would be a P, 2-line column, circle inside the word circle row. So P. Then we have this shallow divot with 3 dots. So that makes it an R, 3 dots, R. Then we have an I, line going towards the middle of the word circle. So here we have an I, that green one with the line going inwards. Then we have this deep divot with 1, 2, 3 dots on it. So that would be a D. And then we have this E on the line of the word circle, which is that red one there. So that would be pride. Okay, so now we have this one, and this one is pretty tricky. I'm zoomed in really close so you can see some stuff. And it starts with, this is the bottom, and this is our first letter. It has 1 line and a circle inside the word circle. So that makes it 1-line column, circle inside the word circle row, an N. And then we have an E centered right in the middle of that N. So if we go to our N here, there's this red one right in the middle, which is an E, that red one there. Then we have the tricky bit, which is this. So this is a divot taken out of the word never. Yes, I did continue the line just to make it look extra cool, but this line here is still just a shallow divot taken out of this word never. And we have 1 line attached to it here. So that makes it in the 1-line column and in the shallow divot row. So that would be a V. And then we have an E, like a bead on the word circle. So this red one here on the line of the word circle, which is the blue one here. And then we have 3 dots on a shallow divot. So here's our shallow divot column, just like with the V, except it's got 3 dots on it. So that makes it an R. And then we have this word. We start at the bottom here, and we don't have any letters until we hit this A. And even though this crosses the bottom line, the center of this is the same as the center of this. So the position trumps the one, like, you look at the center of the circle if 2 of them cross the bottom or across the middle. But this is still kind of a really hard to read design, uses a lot of technicalities to be read. But here we have the A outside this word circle. Then we have this deep divot with 1 line attached to it, so that would be a G. Here's another A, I line going towards the middle, and then another N with 1 line on it, just like that one. And I'll prove to you that we do in fact have a G in the 1-line column with the N. And yeah, so A, G, A, I, N. So that's never again. And then we have this one. This one is much easier to read, kind of. It starts with an H. It's a deep divot with 1, 2 lines. So we have that H, 2 lines. Then we have a U with a line going outwards. So that purple one has a line going outwards. Then we have an M with 1, 2, 3 lines on it. So that would put us in this column with the 3 lines, in this row with the completed circle inside the word circle. Then we have an A outside the word circle, like that tealish blue one up there. And then we have another N. Wait, we haven't done any N's yet in this word. We just had an M. But this N has 1 line on it here. And then the I has a line going towards the middle. So that would be the N and then the I. Then we have a shallow divot with a line passing through it. And lines that pass through letters do not count. So this doesn't count here. In fact, this is vestigial from when I took this design from another bigger design. A lot of these words came from like a big quote or something, and I was like, ooh, that's a nice word. That's a nice way I drew that word. Let me just make that a separate design. So that would be a T, and then we have 2 dots on the Y. And here, let me prove that to you. Here's circle on the line with 2 dots, and then we have a T, shallow divot with no modifiers. The N is a circle inside the word circle with 1 line right there. So that would be humanity. Okay, now we have this one. This one is a bit fancy. It is the TARDIS key, and instead of just doing a T-A-R-D-I-S, I did T-I-M-E, with a shallow divot, no mods, I line going towards the middle, M with 1, 2, 3 lines, and an E centered in the M. So for this design, I'm not going to go back and forth between the key and it for the whole thing. I'm just going to point out the number of lines, the number of dots, the letter stems, and then talk a bit about how the vowels are. So T, shallow divot, no mods, M, circle inside the word circle with 3 lines. So T-I-M-E, A, outside the word circle, N, circle inside the word circle with 1 line, deep divot, 3 dots is a D, so and. Then we have this shallow divot with 3 dots, R, E, and then we have this big L with 1, 2, 3 dots on it. A, outside the word circle. T, no lines attached to it, but the line is attached to the I with a line going inwards. V is a shallow divot with 1 line and then an E centered on that, so that would be relative. Then we have 3 dots on this D, just like that D. I, line going inwards. Then we have 1, 2, 3 lines attached to the M with an E in the middle of it. N with 1 line. It's important that this line doesn't connect up. Then this S with 1, 2, 3 lines on it, I line going inwards, O, and then N with 1 line, just like that N. Then an I line going inwards and an N, just like the earlier N's, and then we have an S, 1, 2, 3 lines on space, S. Then we have a P with 2 lines, A, outside the word circle, and then another S, 1, 2, 3 lines. And even though the word space is spelled with the letter C instead of the letter S, in the original script there was no letter C, so you had to swap that that C with an S or a K, depending on what sound it made. So the C in space goes S, so you swap it with an S, and then here's the E. And then here we have the word key. We have 2 dots on this circle inside the word circle, then an E inside that, and then a Y with 2 dots. So that would be the TARDIS key. And then we have spoilers. We have 1, 2, 3 lines on a shallow divot, so that makes us in the shallow divot row, and then the 3 lines column. So that would be the S. Then we have a P with 1, 2 lines attached to it. So that puts us in the 2 line here column, in the circle inside the word circle row. So that would be the P. Then we have an O. It's a little guy inside the word circle. So like the brown one up here, like that. And then we have an I with a line going inwards. So if we check that out here, there's the line. Then we have 1, 2, 3 dots attached to a circle inside the word circle. So it's still a circle inside the word circle, like the P, but it's got 3 dots instead of 2 lines. That makes it an L. And then we have an E on the line of the word circle, just like the I, but with no lines going any direction. And then we have an R, which has 1, 2, 3 dots. So even though these 6 dots make a chain, we've got 3 on the L and 3 on the R. So we're still in the 3-dot column here, but we're a shallow divot instead of a deep divot. And then the last letter is another S, so 3 lines on a shallow divot, just like the first letter S, which has 1, 2, 3 lines. So 1, 2, 3 lines and 1, 2, 3 lines. So that's spoilers. Bam. Okay, so now we have a spire, and A is outside the word circle. Then we have a shallow divot with 3 lines. So we go to our 3-line column, which is the S, and then we have a shallow divot, which is the S. So S, then we have a P, 1, 2 lines. Lines that pass through letters do not count, so just these thick lines count on that P. The thin one goes to the I. So we're in the 2-line column here, and we're in the circle inside the word circle row, so that would be the P. And then we have an I line going inwards, so like this green one. And then we have a shallow divot with 3 dots, so we're in the 3-dot column, and in the shallow divot row. And then we have an E on the line of where that word circle would go, so like that red one there, so that's a spire. We're on the last row, you guys. So here we have something. This says something. Literally, we have a shallow divot with 1, 2, 3 lines. So yes, the same line can curve around and count twice. What matters is there's 1, 2, 3 lines ending on that shallow divot. So that puts us in the shallow divot row with 3 lines, so that's an S. Then we have a O inside the word circle, like that. So like this brown one here. Then we have this circle inside the word circle with 1, 2, 3 lines attached. So that would be an M here. And then right in the middle of the M, we have something like this red circle, which is an E, right there. Then we continue around. So this is just a line modifier coming from this circle. That's because it isn't fully completed, and it doesn't, continue to make a full circle like this one. So this is a full circle. It is a letter stem, and nothing ends on it. No lines end on that stem, so that makes it a TH with no modifiers, so this first column. and then this row because it's the circle on the line of the word circle. Our last letter is in the same row, and it has 3 lines attached to a circle on the line of the word circle. And those 3 lines are this thick one, and that thin one. So that would be the NG at the end of something. And now we grab our star. So now we have something cool. We have a shallow divot with 1, 2, 3 lines attached. So that's an S. And then like a bead on a string attached to that S. So that O right there makes it, this is the O. So S with 1, 2, 3 lines, O. Then we have this letter, which has 1, 2, 3 lines on it as well, so it's in the same column as the S, but it's a circle inside the word circle. So here's the letter stem, and it's got 3 lines on it, so that would be an M. Then an E, centered on the line, like this. And then we have this TH, which has nothing ending on it. No lines actually end on this TH. So that puts us in the first column with no modifiers, and then this last letter stem. So here we have a TH. Then inside that TH, we have an I line going towards the middle. And then we have this NG, 1, 2, 3 dots in the same stem as the TH, which is right here. And then we have this junk, which none of this junk is any actual letter stems, plus they're all inside the decorative deep divot of the sentence circle, which sentence circles can have decorative divots that don't affect translation. So that's what these guys are. And then you have this word. It starts with a K, 1, 2 dots on a circle inside the word circle. So that makes it a K. And yes, this word is cool, but because this letter C was added later in the script, it's typically only used for for proper nouns and acronyms. And if you want to write in the classic style, you would swap this C to a K or an S or a CH depending on what sound it makes. So in the word cool, the C goes K, so you swap it with a K. So there's the K. And the next thing we have is a double O attached to the K. So double letters are the same letter twice. So same thickness of the line of the double letter makes it the same letter twice. So let's go back to this. So we have that double circle there. So that would be the double O. And then we have 1, 2, 3 dots on this circle inside the word circle. So it's going to be right next to the K and is the L with 3 dots. Okay, now we have honor. This is a deep divot with 1, 2 lines attached to it. So that would be the H. And then like a bead on a string, we have the word, the letter O, like that one. Then we have an N, which is a circle inside the word circle with 1 line on it. And lines that pass through letters do not count. So only that 1 line counts, putting it in the 1 line column, and then we have the N, the circle inside the word circle. Then we have an O, like a bead on a string attached to that. So if we follow this brown one down, we see the O. And then we have an R, shallow divot with 3 dots. So we've got this row, because it's this letter stem, a shallow divot, and then 3 dots, making it an R. Then we have home. That would be a deep divot with 1, 2 lines. So here we have a deep divot with 2 lines. So we combine this column and this row to make the H. And then we have an O, little guy inside the word circle there. So like this brown one here. And then we have this letter with 1, 2, 3 lines ending on it. So we're going to go to our 3-line column right here. And it's a circle inside the word circle, making it an M. And then last but not least, we have this guy on the line of the word circle, and that makes it an E, because it's on the line of the word circle, which this blue line is the word circle line. So that would be home. Here's the same word again. So even though these are different designs, it is the same word because we still start, if we cross the bottom, with a deep divot with 1, 2 lines, just like the 1, 2 lines on this H. Then we have an O on the line of the word circle, which if we go up here, is like this. So it's on the line of the letter stem, not word circle, sorry. This blue one is the word circle, these black ones are the letter stems, and this brown one is an O, like a bead on a string on the letter stems. Okay, and then we have an M with 1, 2, 3 lines attached. So we're going to go to our 3-line column here, and it's a circle inside the word circle, so that's an M. And then we have an E inside that, so that would be home, H-O-M-E, H-O-M-E. And then we have this design, which is I am home. So we start with the I line going towards the middle, and this is the only letter on this word. So we have our little vowels, little circles, and like this green one, it's got a line going inwards. Then we have an A outside the word circle, making it an A. Then we have an M. We have that thick line, and that thin one, that little guy there. So that would be 1, 2, 3 lines attached to our consonant. So that puts us in the 3-line column, this one here. and then the M is a circle inside the word circle, like that. And then our very last letter of, oh wait, no, that's the M and am. Then we have home. This is a deep divot here. And this line passes through it, this line passes through it. But you see these little guys? This little half circle here? That is two lines attached to the H. So that puts us in the 2-line column. And then it's a deep divot, so that makes it an H. And then right inside those lines, we have this guy, which is a circle on the line of the word circle, which makes it like this, which makes it an O. So it's like that specifically on the H stem. And then we have this M here with 1, 2, 3 lines. So just like this M with 1, 2, 3 lines, this also is an M with 3 lines. And then we have an E centered right in the middle of that M. So like this red one here. And that makes it I am home. Whew, that was a marathon of a video. Let's go ahead and put that last star there because we did it. We did all of them. And I will probably do more little words like this, but I will not make more videos like this because I feel like you get the point. Actually, I might. Who knows? Maybe once a year I'll do a video with a collection of all of my little designs I have taken and made from other bigger designs. But I will continue to make individual videos for the big designs. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye!